Hello, and welcome to another video in the Scriptcase Macros course. Today, we're looking at the scFetchMode macro. So my name is Nate Carpenter, and I'm leading this. So scFetchMode modifies the return type of a select statement. So that's either an associative array or an indexed array. So let's go ahead and go over to the macros, and we'll see a little bit more of this, and then we'll start using it. So there's our macro right there. And here it is. So it modifies the type, and we have two options, 0 or 1. So one returns an associative array and index, and this one returns just an indexed. So 0 is the default one, and that returns both the indexes and the name of the column. So both index and associative. And the second parameter, so if we pass through 1, it returns just the index, or just the numbers. So there's an example of it. So that's 0, and then that's 1, so that it's just indexed. So let's go over to Scriptcase and get started with this. So I have a blank application set up here. And I'm just selecting from a table here, actor, and I'm just selecting 5 records using fcselect. That's covered in another video. And saving the result in my data. And then I'm going to loop through that and print out the first field. So I'm echoing out that first field there with the new line, going on to the next one, and then closing out the connection. So let's go ahead and run this. This should work just fine as is. So this is the default. This is like we pass 0 through to that macro. It has both indexed and associative. So I can do the number or I can do the field. So first name, that is that field we were accessing there. And this should work as well because both options are returned. So there we go. It looks exactly like it did before. And that's because we're using the default option of 0 here, returning both the index and the name. So let's go ahead and change this. So I'm going to copy it and we're going to pass through 1 instead of 0. So I need to put it right before the select at some point at least. And I'm going to change that 0 to 1. So now this is going to break this line of code right here where it's accessing the first name because that is not in the array any longer. So we're going to get some errors here. So we got some errors just like we expected. So that's an undefined index that's not actually in that array. So let's go ahead and change this back to 1 like we saw before. And now this should work. And the errors should disappear here and we should see what we saw before, which we do, all the names without any errors or anything. So that's how you use scFetchMode to change the fetch mode from index to an associative array in your Scriptcase database queries.